If you've ever been in a marriage or a relationship, like if you're the dominant person in the relationship, say, or even if you're not, if you win an argument by force, basically, if you force your opinion and you win the argument, and the only point of the conversation was to say that you're better than them, or that you're right and they're wrong, instead of resolving whatever the complication is, that argument is actually not won. It's not an argument. You don't win an argument with a significant other if you have that in mind, to basically win the battle despite the war. Pretty bad analogy, but if all you're doing is pushing somebody around, whether it be physically or emotionally or whatever, there's retribution. If you create an environment of either fear or intimidation, that person has every way to get back at you in other ways. There is no winning. A person who's pushed around, they start to be resentful. It only makes sense. So that said, we have a relationship as a country to other countries. Obviously, our trade relationships are very critical, and everybody benefits via trade. Everybody benefits. Well, that means that without trade, everybody loses. And the method which our administration is using to do trade negotiation is straight up bullying. That may work at first, we got Mexico to, I guess, agree to dealing with all of the rest of South America and southern North America migration by force. It was just like, well, you take this deal or we sanction, or we put tariffs on you. And what's in it for Mexico besides, okay, you're not going to hurt us if we comply? Okay, so we won the battle, right? We won the battle as a trade negotiation, but that's not, in my opinion, that is not a trade negotiation, because what's in it for Mexico? They have to have done that begrudgingly and have to be very resentful. And I'm sure that they will do whatever they can to not be in the position where that can happen anymore. So future negotiations or interactions are going to be affected for who knows how long over this behavior. And even more relevantly is the way that we've been treating Russia and China. And now they're banding together to do trade outside the dollar system. Well, therein lies my point. The results of that are going to be catastrophic. I mean, the dollar will collapse. Maybe I'm being a little bit, I might not be being dramatic about that. The dollar will devaluate. I mean, if you have, X amount of dollars over being traded between them, and they say, we're not using your dollars anymore, and they all come back here, well, each dollar that we have here is worth less money then, so the dollar devalues. So everything that people have in dollars becomes worth less. That's, for an economy that's not really very stable, that's really bad. So I think that it's really, really important that some sort of cooler heads start to prevail in this trade war, because nobody wins, everybody loses, and it's bullying. It really is. And it's violence. It's violence. All the people in those countries that are sanctioned, that have tariffs slapped on their stuff, they're suffering. They're suffering. They lose out. It's as violent as a war is, because everybody's hurting from it. and it just hurts the citizens. You know, of course, royalty or presidents, you know, they may be inconvenienced, but they're not going broke. You're not going hungry. It's the citizens. Venezuela too. They got to be resentful, and that's going to come back. It's going to come back. It always does. You don't win an argument, you resolve it. And there's been no resolution here. There's just been bullying. So we'll see how that goes. I'd get out of the dollar if I were you. Myself, I have very little in the way of US dollars invested. Very little. So, take care.
Hello.